Alright, YouTube fight fans, what's going on? This is G Funk, and I'm back again, ready to do another fight prediction for the best pay-per-view of the year for me, and that is Timothy Bradley versus Manny Pacquiao, Part 2. And it's gonna go down, man, April 12th, and I think this is gonna be a pretty good fight. Can't wait to see it. I'm going over to the homeboy's house, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna have the fight party. We're gonna be chilling in the little man cave that he's got, you know. If you ain't got one, you better get one in your house, man, because it's legit when you're watching sports events, you know. So, I'm real excited for this one here. So, let's get into it, man. We got, like I said, these dudes have fought before. We already know how the first fight happened. A lot of controversy and a lot of people's opinions. So, let's talk about it real quick before I actually break down this fight. So, what I want to say is that for the first fight, I did do a prediction video on it, and I did pick Timothy Bradley to win this fight because I thought that at the time that Manny Pacquiao was starting to show signs of a decline in his career. I thought he was definitely slowing down. I had said this in my original prediction video for the first fight. I thought that his performances against Shane Mosley and Juan Manuel Marquez, they were not up to par like Manny Pacquiao normally, performs. I actually thought he lost the Marquez fight. Even though I predicted him to win that fight, I thought he lost it. Thought it was a clear-cut win for Marquez. The Shane Mosley fight, I mean, Mosley was there to get knocked out, man. I mean, he wasn't even throwing no punches. Manny just couldn't put him away, man. For me, it looked like he was definitely slowing down. So I picked Timothy Bradley to win that fight. As far as the first fight went, like I said before, people, if they want to go off of what HBO is telling them, Manny Pacquiao dominated the fight 11 rounds to 1. I mean, that's just ridiculous to me. I think for me it was a close fight. I actually had Timothy Bradley winning that fight 7 rounds to 5. I thought that there was a lot of rounds that Manny, he just, especially in the late rounds, he tried to steal a lot of the rounds, like that, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler type deal, where, at the end of every round, he wanted to, rally, throw some punches, and try to steal the round from Timothy Bradley. For me, that doesn't win rounds, man. It just doesn't. When you got another guy who's working, the whole fight. You guys can say whatever you want about Tim Bradley in that fight. Let's not forget that Manny Pacquiao was in the back before the fight started. He delayed the fight for an hour. You got Timothy Bradley who's already warmed up, ready to go. He's gloved up. Then you got Pacquiao watching the damn Heat Celtics game, And then once that's over, then he's got to go and stretch on a treadmill, stretch his calves, So, that right there to me is already a controversial right there. It's like, why aren't you ready? You over here watching the game and, and then you got to stretch. Well, you got to fight. You got millions of people out here waiting to see it. And you're out there, we got one guy who's ready to go. I mean, just trying to play head games. That's what I think he was trying to do with Timothy Bradley. And then, as we know, Timothy Bradley also injured both of his feet in that fight. He said he hurt one foot in the second round, and you can clearly see that he turned his ankle in the fourth round of that fight. I mean, everybody saw that. You can't deny that. So, I'm interested to see how Bradley would do with 2 good feet. I thought he did excellent with both of his feet injured in the fight. I thought it was a good fight. I think that there was this predetermined, thought that Manny Pacquiao was going to come out and just dominate and just blow through this guy. By HBO, they already had it in their minds before the fight even started. I mean, you could tell every time Pacquiao would throw a punch near Timothy Bradley. I mean, Jim Lampley was, having orgasms, and he was, it was just ridiculous, man, the way this guy was riding Pacquiao's dick the whole night. It's just sad the way that they call fights at HBO, and this was probably the worst I'd ever seen it. And I've seen some bad commentating by the likes of, George Foreman. I mean, that guy was pretty awful too. But this was probably the worst I'd ever seen it. They just continue to give Manny Pacquiao these rounds over and over again. To me, it wasn't that clear. I mean, he was landing a ton of shots, and it's not like Timothy Bradley was landing a ton of shots either. I'm not saying that. I think both of these guys didn't land many punches in the fight. Like I said, a lot of you fans out there, you guys go off of these weird analogies, you know, when it comes to fighting. Like, a lot of you guys come to my channel when I said that I thought that Marquez beat Pacquiao in the third fight, and you're like, oh, well, look at Marquez's face. His face is all beat up. Oh, he's bleeding. Blah blah blah. You guys like to look at stuff like that, you know? Well, look at Timothy Bradley's face after the fight against Manny Pacquiao. I mean, he's damn near unmarked, you know? I mean, he looks the same that he did before the fight. So, I mean, if you're telling me a guy like Pacquiao with all this vicious power that he has, and believe me, the guy's got power. You know, I'm not saying that he doesn't. What I'm saying is that he wasn't landing a ton of shots like you guys think, or like HBO is trying to tell you he was. So, you know, I mean, to me it was a close fight. Like I said, I had Bradley winning it by 2 rounds. I don't have a problem if you think Manny Pacquiao won the fight, because there's a ton of close rounds, man. I mean, people who agree with me and think that Bradley won the fight, we could probably go over our scorecards and it would be, you know, our rounds would be totally different, but would have the same amount of rounds, you know, that Bradley won. You know, it's just one of those fights, man, where everybody, you know, it's just fights, and I mean, the rounds are all over the place, man. It's just one of those fights, and we get them all the time in boxing. So, I mean, for me, it could have went either way. But let's go ahead and get into this thing now. You know, I think that Timothy Bradley is definitely one of the best fighters in that division, and Manny Pacquiao is too. So, you know, you got to be excited for a fight like this when you have 2 of the best fighting in the same weight class. You know, it's rare that we get that nowadays with the whole Cold War shit, you know, and all these boxers are just using that as an excuse to avoid each other, I think. It's sad, but, you know, it is what it is. But we got a good fight here. You know, you guys, you Pacquiao fans, you guys can say whatever you want about Timothy Bradley, about how he robbed him the first fight, whatever. But one thing you can't say is that this dude he's tough as nails, man. This guy, you know, he comes to win. He doesn't stop working, man. He's never gotten frustrated. I've never seen him get frustrated in the ring. I've never seen him quit in the ring. You know, no matter what's going on in the fight, he's coming, and he's coming to win. He never stops trying. Same thing with Manny Pacquiao, which is what makes a good fight. As far as some of the strengths for Pacquiao, I mean, we all know, we've all seen this guy fight a million times. He's been on pay-per-view, I don't know how many times. But, you know, the guy has very good hand speed, great chin. Even though when he got knocked out, you know, I still think he has a great chin. He just got clipped with a punch that he just never seen from Marquez. But he does have a good chin, great stamina, you know, just and a tough guy, you know, he doesn't stop fighting. And Timothy Bradley has a lot of the same qualities. I mean, he has good speed, he's tough. When he gets down, he gets back up, keeps trying. I mean, we saw that in the Provodnikov fight. I believe it was Kendall Holt who had him down in the at 140 pounds. Hurt him pretty bad. He got up to win that fight. So, I mean, you know, this guy's tough too, man. And he's very competitive, man. You can tell that this guy he's just one of them dudes that doesn't like to lose. You know, he just, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're gonna play ping pong with the dude, you know, if you beat him, he's gonna sit there and try and beat you, you know, and figure out a way to beat you. You know, he's just one of them dudes, man. You know, he just doesn't go away during a fight. I think that's a good thing. As far as what these guys have looked like recently after their first fight, we all know what happened with Pacquiao. He went on to fight Marquez, got slept, came back from that fight, and he looked good against Brandon Rios. A lot of people, including Timothy Bradley, are saying that he lost his fire, he lost his killer instinct. You know, like I said in the first prediction for this fight, I thought I had seen that before the Rios fight. I thought that he was definitely on the decline. Don't get me wrong, Pacquiao is still at the elite level, I think, but to me, he's just the same guy. I mean, he's so aggressive at times that he definitely gets wild. He gets overexcited. He gets very sloppy with his punches at times. And there's always the opportunity to hit him with good counter shots because he does get wild, you know. But when he's in there against guys like Brandon Rios, you know, he's gonna look good. And he did look good against Brandon Rios. For me, it was just a sound beating, and you know, He could have. I mean, I don't know. People are kind of knocking him for not putting him away. I mean, for me, it really doesn't matter. I mean, he came out and he put hands on the man, you know, and he won the fight. It was a clear-cut win, dominant win. But to me, he's still not this. To me, he's just not the same guy. I think Timothy Bradley's right. As far as Timothy Bradley from that first fight, he had the fight with Provodnikov, a brutal fight. Was one of the candidates for Fight of the Year last year. Showed that he does have a good chin and that he's tough and that he's resilient. He came back when he was hurt badly in the very first round. Actually, he said he was concussed after that fight. The guy is a tough guy, man. I mean, actually, I thought he won the fight. There was a lot of people out there that were still mad at him, saying that Provodnikov won. I mean, I don't believe that. I think Timothy Bradley clearly won that fight. Then he went on to fight Juan Manuel Marquez, and he looked very good in that fight. I predicted him to win that fight as well. I thought that his speed and his movement was going to give Marquez trouble, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, he forced Marquez to come forward, and that's something that Marquez doesn't like to do. And I think he put on a very good boxing show that night against Marquez. So both these guys are coming off, impressive wins going into this fight here. But I want to just talk about this whole thing that Pacquiao and Freddie Roach are talking about that I heard on 24/7, where they're talking about how oh well, I don't know why we should be rematching this guy because everybody in the world knows that we beat him. It's like, well, the main reason why I think you should have rematched him immediately was because he took your damn belt, I mean, let's not forget what Timothy Bradley said at the final presser before the first fight. I mean, the man actually came to the press conference with a big, giant ticket, and it had Pacquiao versus Bradley 2 marked on it. He was basically saying, I'm going to win this fight, and we're going to have an immediate rematch. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, look at that. Look at right there. It's right there for you, You can see it right there. He brought it. I felt like he should have, Manny Pacquiao, if he felt he won it so easy, he should have just went in there immediately after and got the knockout. You know what I'm saying? But to me that says that, for them not wanting to get in there right away, that tells me that, that Manny Pacquiao definitely had some problems during that fight. I believe that in the later part of the fight, Timothy Bradley actually figured out Manny Pacquiao, and that's when he started to win more rounds consistently, and that's what won the fight on my scorecard, was the later rounds that Timothy Bradley was winning. And I think that that's something that they were concerned about, definitely. I mean, that's just my opinion, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just the way I saw it. I think he figured Manny Pacquiao out and figured out that left hand towards the end of that fight. So what I'm gonna do here now, I'm going to my prediction and give you guys my pick on who I think is gonna win. And gonna have to go with the Desert Storm again, Timothy Bradley, because I think that he's a versatile fighter, man. We know he can brawl, he can mix it up, and we know that he can box. He can move in and out. And like I said, I think, in my personal opinion, I think he figured out Manny Pacquiao at the end of their first fight. Like I said, Manny Pacquiao's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to knock the guy, but he is what he is. He hasn't changed much. I mean, ever since the days that he broke out on the scene when he beat the Barreras and Moraleses of the world, they were talking about how, he's going to make so much more improvement, especially in the Marquez saga. They kept saying over and over again that the man was going to be prepared for the right hand, and 4 fights and he still couldn't get out of the way of the right hand. So for me, he's still the same guy. Like I said, don't get me wrong, he's still a good fighter, and he does what he does and he does it good. But he hasn't really added much to his game to me like Timothy Bradley has. So that's the reason why I'm gonna pick Timothy Bradley to win this fight. I think he's just gonna box and counter punch, and I guess like Pacquiao said in the face-off, he's gonna run. When it's called boxing, it's not running. And I mean, he even admitted himself that he ran from Rios, which I thought was pretty damn funny. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen, man. Is there a chance for, for the decision to go the other way for Manny Pacquiao? Like many people think that he was robbed in the first fight, so are they going to rob Timothy Bradley this time if he clearly wins it? Yeah, of course, there's a chance for that to happen. It wouldn't surprise me if it happens. I'm not trying to double predict here and say that that's what's going to happen when Timothy Bradley wins most of the rounds. No, I'm gonna stick with Timothy Bradley. I think he's going to win the fight. I think he's just a very good fighter. To me, he's one of the best at 147, right behind Floyd Mayweather. If they ever end this Cold War shit, if Bradley does win this fight convincingly, I think that Mayweather definitely should fight him. But who knows if we'll ever get these fights, man, the way boxing is going nowadays. But anyway, that's my prediction there. I'm going to take Timothy Bradley by decision to win this fight. So you guys let me know what you think. This is G Funk, and I'm out of here.